Hello and welcome! Looking back at my licensed games, I'm always surprised with how many of my favorite Nickelodeon's cartoons got the console treatment. From Rugrats to SpongeBob SquarePants to the Fairly OddParents and even Danny Phantom on the portables. However, not all of my favorite cartoons from the time ever saw a video game outside of a web flash game. So color me surprised when I learned that the Codename Kids Next Door had a PS2 game made for it. And I'm actually disappointed that I missed out on this adventure. So today I'm going to see what I missed out on. Today's video is sponsored by 16-Bit Store. At 16-Bit, we pride ourselves in our designs and the quality of our printed products. From our display stands to our styluses, our cases, shells, and more. Explore our selection at 16bitstore.com today and get 15% off your next order with offer code 16bitreview when you order 2 or more items. When I started Kids Next Door Operation Video Game, I was a bit surprised. While I was expecting a traditional licensed game, which the title screen heavily implied that it was going to be one, I was instead welcomed with a video game in the style of a Kids Next Door episode, though one that lasts a lot longer than a traditional episode. The game itself starts off great with the Toilinator as a tutorial, and I think everything that you'll ever want to know about the game is here. The combat and the controls works well for a Kids Next Door game, while the returning voice actors and the game's aesthetic really sell the fact that you are playing a Kids Next Door episode. I found the more I played the game, the more I wanted to see how this crazy plot would progress. But once I left the tutorial, I found that there was very little in the way of new gameplay or new challenges. When I said everything that you want to know about this game is in the tutorial, I did mean it, because the gameplay is the same cut and paste design from the start of the game to the very end. And on paper, the platforming levels are fun and well designed with a challenge. It just gets a little repetitive after a while, especially when you have to replay the same stages multiple times with different characters, as the developers padded out the experience. The developers did try their best to space things out with scrolling shooter levels for number 2, and while they are a fun break from the platforming levels on paper, due to their extremely long lengths and lack of really things to do other than to hold the shoot button down, they felt monotonous by the time I finally took the boss down. And you're forced to play these sections multiple times throughout the game. And by the time you go to the moon, they just stack level after level for you, and it becomes annoying. You know, thinking about this a bit, it feels like one of the show's villains made this game as a way to get the kids to stop playing the video games through tedium and prepare them for the real world. However, much like the show, the game is saved time and time again by the Kids Next Door. The story here made the slower and more repetitive parts of the game so much more enjoyable, especially levels starring numbers 3 and 5. I don't think there was once a level where I didn't laugh at either the concept of it or just the dialogue that they're given. However, outside of this game story, there sadly is not a lot that's unique here that really makes this game stand out, which I do feel is a bit of a shame, especially for a cartoon series that is as unique as the Kids Next Door. Looking back at this game, I was hoping that Kids Next Door would turn out to be more like SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. Since with Battle for Bikini Bottom, if you're a fan of the cartoon, you would love the game and its jokes, references, and most of its voice cast. But if you're not a fan of SpongeBob, there's still a solid 3D platformer at its core. Meanwhile, Codename Kids Next Door Operation Video Game is just for the fans. While there is a playable game at its core, I don't think if you're not a fan of the series, you'll get anything out of it. Since, for all intent and purpose, this is just one very long episode on top of an okay game. I know I've played better licensed games like this, like the Robots movie or Fairly Odd Parents Breaking the Rules. And I would recommend playing any of those games first before picking this up. But if you or a friend of yours is a fan of this game and you really want to experience more Kids Next Door, this is worth adding to your collection. As for me, I'm keeping it in mind. But anyways, thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you have yourself a good day, and as always, take care.